Game week 3 is nearly upon us and it's time to finalise and lock in our teams. This is my team selection for Game week 3, so if you like the video, please hit the like button and please consider subscribing, it will help the channel out. So let's just get straight into the video. So to start with, in goal, we've gone with Jose Sarr this week. There is a rotation happening and Verbruggen is going to the bench. Obviously, the Everton fixture at home for Wolves is looking that little bit more appetising than Manchester City at home for Verbruggen. Obviously, the clean sheet potential is there with Jose Sarr. Possibly the save points are more likely with Verbruggen, but I'd rather play those clean sheet odds, I think. And maybe Jose Sarr and Wolves can get off the mark with their first win of the season. And then as we move into defence, I've gone with, as always, Cucurella up first, taking a little bit of a price rise, which is nice. But Fulham at home, it's a derby for Chelsea. So derbies can obviously be quite tense, tight affairs. So I'll be looking for the clean sheet in that one. But against West Ham, we saw what Cucurella can do as he got his assist for a João Pedro goal. Probably not the most conventional assist as a header flick on from a corner, but they all count, and they just shows the versatile ways he can get these attacking returns and why he's such a useful asset in the team. Obviously then we have Nico Williams up next, and Nottingham Forest will be playing at home to West Ham United, a real struggling West Ham United side. Forest yet to keep a clean sheet this year, this season, and I feel like it's got to be this game, surely. West Ham at home. It's the perfect chance to get that clean sheet, and I'm sure most of us have a Forest defender, whether it be Murillo, Milenkovic, Nico Williams, or even Ola Aina. Sells in goal as well. They've only conceded one goal in the two opening games, one in each game. So maybe they can go that one step further and maybe have a complete shutout and get the points there. I feel quite confident with that one. Even though the West Ham attack may not be a huge issue, you've got Bowen who can get a goal from literally anywhere. So I'm wary of that, but let's go and just go into it positive and feel that Forest can get over the line on this one. Then finally, I've got Chris Richards. This one was a little bit of a sort of play around. I didn't know whether to go with Roden at home to Newcastle. Basically because Newcastle will still be missing that out-and-out number 9, although they probably will be forced to play Osula with the ban for Anthony Gordon after his red card against Liverpool. That might limit their attacking threat, but I look at the Newcastle performance against Liverpool and how well they played with 10 men, and now they go to a Leeds side where I feel they can surely score even without that missing number 9. So I'm willing to back Richards, and hopefully he can hit those DEFCON points for the first time this season. I would have thought he would have hit them already, but he hasn't quite done that yet. So I play the DEFCON points. The clean sheet points will be a huge bonus. With it being a no-brainer and Wan-Bissaka drop in to my bench, we have Morgan Rogers up in the midfield first. I've had to stick with him so far. It's been a very tough start for Aston Villa, very tough start. I think we were all expecting a lot more from them, certainly in the attack. He's playing a little bit further wide than he normally would, which isn't really helping him. I believe it's Tielemans that's maybe pushing up the pitch a little bit more and taking that sort of attacking midfield role off him. Because it hasn't worked so far, I'm sort of hoping that they'll move Rodgers back to the centre, where he was so productive and lethal last year. And then you just got to have the faith that this is the game that Villa finally score a goal. Hopefully Morgan Rogers can be a part of that goal. Next up, Salah. Not the easiest fixture for Salah this week. At home to Arsenal. We know with Salah he can score in any goal, any game, a goal in any game. He can get an assist, but he hasn't quite looked himself, has he? That's my only worry with Salah, and I will keep an eye on it on this game and going into game week 4 after the international break as well. He's just about like snatching those returns right at the end of games. Both of his returns coming in the 90th minute this season, the goal and the assist. And that's why I've also gone with him as vice captain. With it being a tough game against Arsenal, I'd rather put the captain's armband somewhere else where I feel a bit safer. Salah's normally that safe place for the captain's armband, but I'm willing to go a bit more differential. But I don't feel, especially with the way the Arsenal defence is performing, 2 clean sheets to start the season as well, I don't think it's going to be goals galore for Liverpool like it has been so far this season. Obviously, the player I brought in last week, Semenyo, keeps his place in the team. He's the only one I probably would have considered switching out for Elliot Anderson, who has that West Ham fixture, like I mentioned before. I would like to start Anderson, really. I wouldn't mind him in that West Ham fixture, with the potential for DEFCON for him in particular. But I can't back against Semenyo, who's had a fantastic start to the season. Even at Tottenham away, I feel like his attacking threat on the counter is fantastic, and we saw that against Liverpool. And I feel he can do it again against Tottenham. Although it is a tight-knit Tottenham defence, they've certainly been a lot less leaky than Liverpool have at the start of this season. But Semenyo has looked good and willing to back sort of that attacking threat rather than Anderson's DEFCON points. It's a more aggressive style, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Last spot goes to Iliman Ndiaye away at Wolves. It's sort of backing against my goalkeeper here, which I did it last week, and I like to do that. Unless I'm on a real offensive week when I really want to attack in a certain week, I do like to back the attack and the opposition defence just to cover all bases. And Ndiaye was off the mark last week after a very worrying sort of Everton attacking display against Leeds in the opening day. They looked much more at it in their debut at their new stadium. And he got his goal. And suddenly I felt a bit more confident with keeping him in my team. He was somebody I was looking to maybe move on, but certainly happy to keep with him and start him in this game week. So on to the forward line, and as you can see, it's an attack that's sort of, and a whole team that's invested into this Aston Villa Crystal Palace fixture. Not by design, it's just the way it's sort of fallen. So I'm going to have to back Mateta in this one, away at Villa. I don't completely dislike this for him. It's about time he got off the mark, I think, in the Premier League this season. And there's no reason why he can't do it against Villa. Villa have had their struggles. Defensively, they've only conceded 1 goal, but as a whole, they haven't looked too sharp. And against a decent Crystal Palace attack, even minus Eberechi Eze, I feel this could be the game he gets off the mark, and on penalties as well. I think he's going to be a fantastic option going forward as well, with 2 great fixtures after this. So I'm more than happy with Jean-Philippe Mateta at the moment. Somebody I'm not probably particularly as happy with is Ollie Watkins. And now, once again, backing against my Crystal Palace defender, but covering bases. It's about time he got off the mark. It's the same as Morgan Rogers. Ideal world, if Chris Richards is losing his clean sheet, it's going to be a goal from Ollie Watkins, assist from Morgan Rogers, or vice versa. And he's somebody I would potentially look to transfer out, or maybe Morgan Rogers. With the way they're playing Villa, I don't like this double Villa attack, but I really want to keep the transfer and roll it beyond the international break. I think that's going to be really important, especially with the unknown of the international break and the injuries players can come back with. Rolling the transfer going into that is something I think we should all be looking to do if it's possible and there's no emergency transfers in your team. But I feel this is the game for Ollie Watkins as well. I've said this about Mateta, but surely this is the game where Villa get off the mark and score their first goal of the season. We will back that. I don't love having 4 players from one fixture, but like I say, it's the way it's fallen. And then finally, and maybe controversially, the player I probably should have captained last week instead of Ollie Watkins, João Pedro. Fantastic performance against West Ham. And I'm sort of banking on this. If Cole Palmer's not playing, a lot more will flow through João Pedro and he will become more important to Chelsea when Cole Palmer doesn't play. And that's sort of why I put him on the captain's armband. Obviously swayed a little bit by that fantastic return, but in a derby against Fulham, I feel like he can stamp his authority, sort of make the game his, potentially on penalties with no Cole Palmer on the pitch as well. That would remain to be seen, but that would be a nice little bonus. And he's the one sort of striker I am sort of really happy with at the moment. There's not a lot of attackers that returned last week, so I don't think we can go beating ourselves up about the way our strikers performed in game week 2. That those things happened, and especially with Haaland blanking as well, it wasn't just a case of the sort of mid-price strikers. Even some of the top scoring or top money, top price strikers did struggle last week. So that's pretty much the team. Let's go and show you what I would consider if I was making a transfer. So the transfer I would actually be tempted by going into this week is actually Wan-Bissaka out. I really want to sort of get completely out of the West Ham defence. How many goals is that now? 8 goals conceded in 2 games. Rock bottom of the table. I know it's only 2 games, but they just have not looked good, and probably the most out of form and under pressure team at the moment. He hasn't really shown the DEFCON points I would have hoped for quite a tenacious defender, and playing in that right wing back position, he hasn't really had the attack and threat I thought he could have as well. So my transfer would be to somebody like Van der Ven. I would have the money to even go to a Romero or a Pedro Porro. All of them are quite good because they all drop down in 0.5 price increments, which sort of fits to any budget then. So a nice transfer for me would be a West Ham defender to a Tottenham defender. And if I had that luxury with maybe 2 transfers, maybe I would do it. But I'm probably more than likely going to be going with that second option and rolling the transfer. And like I said before, have those 2 transfers coming out of the international break. I feel that's going to be more important than just swapping a bench defender, even though I would start Van der Ven if he came in. So there's my team selection for game week 3. Coming off a game week 2, which was not too bad really. It was a nice recovery week after a really poor opening game week for myself. So good luck to you guys going into game week 3. I hope you do well, and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that one when it comes out.